Taxonomy is a science of classification. With so many indie games hitting the video game market, it's easy to see people get confused with the jargon attached with taggy products on the market. What's good? Will I enjoy it? Do I even know what I'm getting myself into? Hopefully I can help you answer some of the questions that you may have. I'm your host, sensei-pong, and this is Game Taxonomy. Crap, GT, really? That's a ripoff if I haven't seen one. Might as well just slap Taxonomy on the Game Theory logo. Take two. This is Video Game Taxonomy. There we go. Not a clone anymore. And thus the children rejoiced. Yay! Today I thought I should pick apart something simple and explain a little of what a roguelike game is. But before that, let's roll back the clock to the early 80s and look at the game that defined the genre. Look at them pretty graphics. It's beautiful. You really gotta use your imagination on this one. That smiley face is you and that letter B is a bat. By the way, the letter E is an emu, H is a hobgoblin, and those little stars are gold pieces. The dungeons on each floor are randomized as you progress through the dungeon via staircase. It's your most basic of dungeon crawlers, but considering this game came out in 1984, the fact that you can find better equipment, weapons, bows and arrows, and with a little touch up on the graphics, heck, you got a whole Steam Greenlight section. Oh, and get this, shows how much I knew. There's an actual story and an objective. When I was a kid, I thought you were just supposed to see how far you can go through the dungeons. It's a simple, fun game regardless of how you play. Let's read the manual for more insight. Brought to you by roguelikedevelopment.org. A link is down and below in the description.
The quest for the amulet. How long has it been? How many lifetimes have passed since I have begun to sojourn through the maze of underground passageways, of damped, dimly lit chambers? How long have I been alone? The only human...
Wow, I don't remember seeing those graphics in the game. Yeah, it just keeps going and going and going. But I didn't realize this till a little bit over 10 years ago, that my imagination can roll, knowing that I am the rogue, traversing through the Dungeon of Doom to seek the treasure called the Amulet of Yendor. Good stuff though, check it out if you really want an old school throwback. The game's shareware and free. I'm using DOSBox in case you're wondering, which also happens to be free. But seriously, what makes a roguelike? Let's look at some newer games now. This one is Fatal Labyrinth on the Sega Genesis. It's what you may call a dungeon crawler RPG, which, is essentially the same as a roguelike. The levels / floors are never the same, which
makes for a different adventure every time.
Alright, sure, story's simple. Some evil dragon guard castle is risen from the grave once again, and it's up to you, the one-man Rambo army, to slay the dragon and return some orb of light to lighten up the land and make sure this kid can go to school tomorrow, and this chick can do her laundry. Seriously, there's impending doom on your village and the rest of the world, and you're worried about hang-dry clothes? Must be a pretty darn nice suit if that's what you're fighting for. That said, you level up, dungeons are random, and exploration is rewarded with treasure and better gear. Yeah, it's a fun game, but it's funny. What's considered a classic now, and compared to how excited my friends were when this came out in comparison to Final Fantasy IV and Sonic the Hedgehog, my memory begs to differ. It's like Sonic Adventure, now considered a classic. I remember that game sucking from day one. I think I'm in a lonely camp that still considers Sonic 3D Blast being better. Luckily for Fatal Labyrinth, the gameplay is timeless and holds up pretty well for being over 20 years old. It's available on Steam for download, and I think Nintendo's Virtual Console? I'm not sure, but I'm too lazy to check. Here's another roguelike you might recognize. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on the Game Boy Advance Red Rescue Team. Here, depending on how you answer the personality test, you're a kid turned into a Pokemon, finding other Pokemon that join your team to solve the mystery of how to turn yourself back into a human. Now, compared to the mediocre retrieval this game got when it was first released, I like this game. As a big Pokemon fan, what other dream can I have other than being the Pokemon in a near 30-year-old format? Then again, I think I had more fun than I should figuring out the outcomes of the personality test at the beginning. Machop again? Lame. This joke's only funny if I keep getting Bulbasaur. Let's bring the clock up to present times. We've got Overture, Rogue Legacy, One Way Heroics, Sanctuary RPG, Spelunky, Dungeons of Dreadmore, and the Crypt of the Necrodancer. But what makes these titles a roguelike? Surely not all the playable characters are of a rogue class. No, that's just stupid. Roguelike can be simply put as a matter of game design. It doesn't have to be turn-based or strategic, but even simpler put, a roguelike game is where you, the player, traverses through randomized levels of procedural difficulty. There's usually strong RPG elements in terms of quests, leveling, and item management, but it's not necessary. Enemies are randomized as well, and exploration is usually rewarded. And seeing how every level is random, exploration is a vital element of the gameplay. Storyline isn't necessarily important for a good roguelike game, but as always, it doesn't hurt. The biggest perk that roguelikes offer is that since levels and enemies are random, the gameplay never seems to get too old too quickly, and each adventure you have feels honestly different. Hopefully that answers some questions you may have had and had fun watching me ramble. But these are just my thoughts. If you think I got something wrong, leave a comment down below so I can dismiss you in a flame war. Or, if you have any other roguelike games that you really like and I didn't mention, share your experiences and thoughts below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'm going to play a roguelike that likes to give me headaches. Hyper Rogue for the win. Sensei-pong signing out.